Hello there. The 1922 Committee of Men in Grey Suits has declared war on Boris Johnson. The already thin ice on which Boris Johnson is now standing is starting to crack visibly. He's just suffered a massive backbench rebellion and relied on the opposition benches to get his freedom-snatching health pass rules through the House of Commons. According to the latest figures I've seen, 101 Tory backbenchers voted against their own government over these health passes. That's 28% of the party's 361 MPs. But when factoring in all those with cabinet-related posts, where they have to toe the party line under cabinet collective responsibility, that's maybe 100 to 150 of them, that means something like 40% maybe of those free to vote went against Boris. And many failed to vote. But also bear in mind that the entire leadership of the 1922 committee also voted against Boris Johnson. That is significant and has caused some repercussions, as you'll see in a minute. Not a good look when the voters go to the polling stations today in the North Shropshire by-election, a by-election caused by the so-called Lobbygate, where the former Tory MP there, Owen Paterson, broke the rules and was forced out. There is anger out there, and it looks like the Tory 62.7% vote share and 22,949 vote majority in North Shropshire will be shredded. And the party that came third last time, the Lib Dems, could actually end up with the seat. And that would not help to settle the government backbenches, nor will it do anything to increase the Boris Johnson standing. But it looks like the Tory Party 1922 committee are preparing, just in case, to deliver a swift kick in the crotch if that's what's required. The committee leadership has changed the rules on letters of no confidence in their party leader, a move that could accelerate the ejection of Boris from number 10. The current procedure is that if a Tory MP is dissatisfied with their party leader, they can lodge a personal letter of no confidence in them with the chairman of the 1922 committee, currently Sir Graham Brady. That letter gets put in the chairman's safe and no one else knows anything about it. Now, if 15% of Tory MPs, in this case 54 of them, lodge such a letter, an internal party MP vote of no confidence in their leader is triggered. If the leader loses, there is a leadership contest to replace them and they stand down as Prime Minister. Up until now, those letters had to be handed personally to the 1922 committee chairman to prevent forgeries. But that's changed. As of now, MPs can send a letter by email and follow it up with a phone call to the chairman to confirm it. Revenge of the chairman. This speeds the process up because Parliament adjourns for Christmas later today and they don't return until Wednesday the 5th of January. Straight into the first PMQs of the year, by the way. And this new rule means that if the Tories do badly in the by-election today, MPs won't have to wait until Parliament reconvenes in the new year to give the chairman their letter. They can just email and phone him in the coming days, even if they are forced to stay at home under any new rules. Bringing the Tory party procedures into the 21st century. All they need to do now is use Zoom to hold any vote of no confidence, and it could all be done and dusted in a few days. Anyway, be in no doubt, Tory backbench feelings are running high at the moment. After Matt Hancock's office antics that lost them a minister, Lobbygate that's potentially lost them an MP, Wallpapergate, which the Tories got fined about 18 grand for, by the way, and Partygate, which has lost them the trust of most of the nation, with only die-hard Tory supporters saying we should just ignore it, as if an us and them rules system doesn't matter. And those backbenchers know that the NHS will suffer should a large proportion of its workforce get sacked on the 1st of April due to the requirement to get up to date with their doses or lose their jobs. The very rule they've actually just passed themselves. That could bring the UK health system down. The Tories would be toast, unless they're planning to import healthcare workers from somewhere in their tens of thousands in the meantime. But then we had Freedom Gate, or whatever you want to call it, where a so-called libertarian Prime Minister and government decided the best way ahead was to impose these liberty-trashing health passes on England. That seems to have been the pylon dropped from a great height that broke the camel's back. Now, those rebel MPs will not have voted against their own party lightly. And if they'd been getting messages from constituents supporting these new measures and restrictions for England, I wonder whether they would have put their heads so clearly above the parapet. I would surmise they were actually bombarded with messages telling them to defy the government or lose votes. I wonder what their party private polling was telling them from North Shropshire. Now, the one good piece of news here for freedom lovers of England is that this vote, coupled with the imminent threat of letters pouring into Graham Brady's inbox, makes it virtually impossible for Boris to impose any further restrictions on the people of England. The backbenches are now emboldened and empowered, and could reinforce the message they've already sent to Boris's government in even greater numbers in future. But here comes the bad news. What the government has managed to achieve is the shutting down of the nation's Christmas plans, not by rules and diktat, but by nudge psychology. Without ordering the hospitality sector to shut down, they've achieved it by a mixture of instilling fear in the population and confusing mixed messaging. Many venues will now go to the wall, and the government won't be handing out money to help them though, because they haven't ordered them to close. We, the punters, have done that for them. We ordered the closure of those pubs and restaurants because we, as a collective, pulled our orders and plans. We, as a collective, pulled our money voluntarily out of the hospitality sector. But the government does have to take the rap for it, and the Tories will no doubt suffer in the polls as time goes on. That thin ice under Boris is definitely thawing and cracking. And the surprise news today is... Well, before I get onto that, I just want to say a massive thank you to all my Super Thanks Patreon and PayPal supporters, as well as those that do buy a mug with my mug on it. Links in the descriptions box below. You really do help me keep this channel going. So today's surprise news is that in the face of decade-high and mounting inflation, currently at over 5%, the Bank of England has just raised the bank rate from 0.1% to 0.25%, but kept bond purchases, quantitative easing, at £895 billion worth. This rate rise had not been expected. Not much of a rate lift, but something designed to send a message to start cooling the economy. And it helped the FTSE 100. That rose by 1% on the news, while the pound spiked against the dollar, euro and yen. This decision by the Bank of England follows a recent move by the US Fed to calm their rising inflation by walking back on their quantitative easing levels. Now, the EU Central Bank, though, has decided today to keep things as they are in the Eurozone. In the UK, pundits have been arguing that rates would have to start going up soon, with many saying it should have happened last month. And just before Christmas and on the day of a by-election does not sound the best day to decide to do it, which is why it was largely unexpected. meaning that the Bank of England Monetary Policy Committee must be worried that leaving it until the next meeting on the 3rd of February would result in a surge of inflation, requiring substantial rises in rates to deal with it. Seems they've taken the little by little approach, although 0.5% might have been a better move. So what's your opinion on how long Boris will last? Please like and comment below. Please subscribe and like this video, buy a mug and support me on Patreon or PayPal, and thank you for watching.